Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Network 10 and ONEHD's coverage of this big game. Matthew Lloyd, your old team, with a new coach, of course, in James Hird, up against St Kilda, and it's a fair opposition who look already in pretty good form this year.
It's going to be a brilliant test for both sides. I think the Saints have been caught out for leg speed against the Bombers in the past. Look at Nick Riewoldt here. They demand success, he does, and if their pre-season summer's been anything to go by, tumultuous off-field, but pretty good on-field.
Yes, they demolished the Cats last week. What have you made of Bombers under James Hird so far, as we maybe get your thoughts on that in a moment, and have a look at some of the changes that Ross Lyon has employed this year?
Yeah, I think Nick Riewoldt, I think they're going to leave their defence, Hutto, and their midfield quite similar, but they need to score more goals. They need to have more options other than Milne and Riewoldt, and Gamble's the man, and this man, Daniel Archer, with no McAvoy and no Michael Gardner, he's got the whole ruck duty to himself tonight.
Yes, it's going to be a big job, although David Hill not playing for Essendon. Both sides are pretty strong, and Joe Watson is one of the last two best and fairest, is, of course, leading the Bombers out here onto Etihad Stadium. We're going to be joined by James Hird in a moment. What's been the main difference from what you've seen so far with Hirdy at the helm?
Oh, it's been brilliant, the transition. I think, number one, Hutto, they are a far fitter side. They have trained a lot harder, a lot more fitness, and I think that they're getting a lot more even spread from players other than Joe Watson early in this NAB Cup, but also the defensive pressure, obviously, compared to the Matthew Knights game plan, has really shone out.
And they're getting a good winning feeling, aren't they, at the moment?
They are. He's out to win it, James Hird, and we're going to chat to him in a sec here, and they're really looking forward to it.
Yes, well, of course, the Bombers had such a tumultuous, talk about tumultuous off-seasons, they had a tumultuous end of the season, and they've been managed to turn things around, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they go into the main season. The coach of the Bombers has joined us here. Hirdy, welcome. What's been your biggest challenge so far as coach?
Oh, it's a big question just after we've done the warm-up, but I think, look, preparing for the season and making sure that we get a fit team ready to play 22 rounds of football has been the hardest part.
And just on the NAB Cup, Hirdy, are you out did you set out from the start to win this?
No, definitely not to win it, but to have a good preparation for round one. I think that we're still trying to work out what our team is and who our best players are and where they should play, and so far that preparation's worked out well, but we're up against one of the best teams in the competition, 3 grand finals in 2 years, so we'll know where we are tonight.
And from a game plan perspective, do you feel like that it'll all come to a head tonight in terms, I know it's all new to the players, but against an outfit like St Kilda, it'll really show up where you're at?
Yeah, I think it'll show where we are, and it'll show whether we've improved, and we're not going to die on our sword if it doesn't work, but look, we're hoping for more improvement tonight like there has been so far this pre-season.
And we're seeing Leroy Jetta in set, and also we saw Angus Monfrey's their defensive pressure last week. You must have been really excited by that.
Yeah, very much so, and unfortunately Owen Davey isn't playing tonight, and he was the outstanding player, and those guys have got a bit of work to do to make up for Owen, but certainly everyone knows that forward pressure in football now is essential.
And you have to get your first draft picks right these days, and Dyson Heppel, he would have just about locked himself in for round one, wouldn't he, on his form?
We'll wait and see. We won't put too much pressure on him, and you've got to be very careful with these guys. We don't wear them out, but at the moment he's looking very good.
Now, there's an article during the week suggesting that Lloydie might be lured back to Windy Hill. You're not that desperate, are you?
We put a pair of shorts in the number 18, but Michael Hurley picked them up, so unfortunately, Lloydie, he's got your spot.
Good luck for
good luck,
tonight and the rest of the year, mate.
Thanks guys,
joining
good
us.
luck.
James Hird joining us. We'll take a break. The Saints and the Bombers are coming up next. The Bomber fans, they got a bit of a spring in their step. So is Lloydie too. Back in a moment.
Welcome back to Etihad Stadium, and just before the footy, a moment of solemn acknowledgement. It's been 10 days since that dreadful earthquake wrecked the beautiful city of Christchurch. The death toll has climbed above 160 and is expected to go beyond 200. Football, in just a moment, is going to pay a tribute. Solemn moment, Rob. It's been a dreadful event just across the Tasman Sea.
Yeah, it has, Tim, and unfortunately we've had a lot of disasters over the last 6 months, haven't we, in Australia and overseas, and the rallying of people has been amazing, so some good comes out of bad.
Prime Minister Julia Gillard has called the Kiwis family. They're not far away, they are our nearest major neighbour. Let's go to ground MC Peter Laser.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, a number of natural disasters have impacted upon Australia and New Zealand over the past couple of months. And tonight, our thoughts are with our friends in New Zealand who are recovering from the earthquake. The Australian Football League, in conjunction with the Essendon and St Kilda football clubs, invite you to join players, umpires and officials as a mark of respect and have 1 minute's silence for those who lost their lives in Christchurch. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your night of football.
So, time for the footy. Time to have a look at the teams for this NAB Cup semi-final with Robert Walls. Tantalising matchup. Great test for James Hird's young Bombers against one of the barometers of the last 3 years, been in the top 4 for the last 3 seasons. I reckon both teams down from top strength by about the same amount.
Yes, I think so, Tim, and I think both teams really keen to win, despite what their coaches say. They'll be very keen to get a win tonight. It's a pretty strong St Kilda lineup. I like Gamble being included in this St Kilda team. He comes from the Cats, of course. He'll help Rewald up forward. He's a good mark. Archer in the ruck. He'll have a heavy load to carry tonight in the absence of so many St Kilda big fellows. Their backline's really strong with players like Blake, Baker and Fisher so experienced.
As Matthew Lloyd said, the Saints without Gardner, McAvoy and Kajitsky, but Essendon without Tall, Timber, Hill, Fletcher and Gumbleton.
Have a look at the half-forward line. I really like that. Jed and Monfries, they work hard to lock the ball in. Hurley's a real competitor. And I think if Hurley plays permanent forward and Ryder spends most of the time in the forward line this year, they'll kick 30-plus goals. And the Bombers need that because last year Monfries was their leading goal kicker with just the 24.
Time to check the conditions under the roof here at Etihad Stadium. And Mark Howard is down on the boundary for us. Good evening, Howie.
Good evening. Beautiful conditions down here. 18 degrees with the roof closed. One late change for the Bombers. Ricky Dyson is out, put up a little bit sore in the warm-up. He's been replaced by Jenkins. A nice crowd in, and I must say the Essendon supporters, they are up and about considering it is only early March. There is the late change. Keep an eye down on the bench tonight. It has been manic in the NAB Cup. 170-plus interchanges in some of these games. It's confusing for the fans. It's confusing down here for the players as well. So it'll be another interesting night down on the boundary, boys.
Thank you, Howie. So James Hird ready for action. How do you think he's handling it all, Lloydie? He seemed a little bit tense out there, which is completely understandable, of course.
Probably the most tense I've seen James Hird in his coaching tenure. I think that he
in his coaching tenure of about 5 minutes.
I know it's been 5 minutes, but he's been, hasn't been overawed at all in so far, and you've seen. But I think he realised he's coming up against a team that's been in 3 grand finals, and that his new game style that you put so much time and effort into over the summer, over the last 6 months, it's going to be tested to the max tonight.
He would be tense, running into a couple of the heavyweights of the football media, such as Matthew Lloyd and Anthony Hudson so early in his career.
And I think he also knows that the baseball bat of Robert Walls might not be too far away.
It's painted red and black.
It is.
There's a bit of history there, isn't there, with Essendon and new Wolsey?
Oh, well, I was just glad that Lloydie went down on the boundary line tonight. I'd like to make a truce with all Essendon fans as we start this new season.
I'm not sure they'd like to make a truce with you, though, Rob.
Interesting too, leg speed of 3 home and away games where the Bombers have got hold of St Kilda. They've blown them away early in the first quarter. The loss of Collier and Ricky Dyson could hurt that aspect tonight.